Welcome to Stuff I Wish They Taught Me, the podcast all about learning a little bit about a lot of things. I'm your host, Alex Luong, and I hope that today you get to walk away learning about something that you wish you knew a lot sooner. For more, please visit our website at thebalancedlearner.com. I want to start off today's episode by talking about toy commercials. I remember growing up watching TV and seeing these super cool Hot Wheel commercials, but definitely one of my favorite commercials was the commercial for RoboDog. For those of you who don't know what RoboDog is, it was basically this little silver robot dog, and whenever you would clap, it would bark, and whenever you would say stuff to it, it would bark back, and some of them even walked. And I remember one year for my birthday, I asked my parents to get me the RoboDog because I really wanted it. And I think I was probably about 8 or 9 at the time. November 10th came up, and I remember my mom and dad gave me a bag, and it was one of those black bags, and they said happy birthday, and they gave it to me, and I reached my hand into the bag, super excited to play with my RoboDog. When I reached for the plastic object in the bag, it had ears, it had a nose, it had a little tail, and when I pulled it out, it was a Chinatown robot dog. It was one of those knockoff versions of the RoboDog, and it had like screws on it that you could actually see, and it had an on and off switch, and when I would clap, nothing would happen, but it just barked again and again every 2 or 3 minutes. And I remember I was so devastated, and I was so mad at my parents, and I threw it on the floor, and I said I didn't want it, and I ran to my room. And looking back at it, I was a little brat. And I'll always remember that RoboDog because that story to me always reminds me of me as a child and, not being grateful for the fact that I was even given a gift. And now that I'm a lot older, I realize that I was pretty much a brat growing up. That isn't the only time I did something like that, but honestly, I'm glad that I went through those experiences because now, as I'm older, I've come to realize how important it is to be grateful for everything that we have. At the time, I wish I was more grateful for receiving a gift, for having both parents who care that it's my birthday, for being in a position where they can even buy me something. Something I talk a lot about throughout all of my episodes is the importance of practicing gratitude, being aware of yourself, and more importantly, taking a second to look around and really see what's going on. On today's episode, we're going to talk all about practicing gratitude. I'm going to talk about a few psychological techniques that I've learned and that I've applied to practicing gratitude. I'm going to teach you guys even a few ways to get started today. And I'm just going to take the opportunity to say that I'm extremely grateful for each and every single one of you for tuning in and giving me a listen. So like I always say, get ready. Go ahead and open up your notes, open up your laptops, open up your ears, but more importantly, open up your minds. Because today we'll be talking all about gratitude. If you guys go ahead and open up google.com and search up the word gratitude, the very first definition of it would be the quality or feeling of being grateful or thankful. And it sounds like something extremely easy to grasp and something easy to do. It might even be something that you're sitting here and thinking about and saying, I could do that. I say thank you a lot. I say thank you to people and stuff like that. And that's really great, but I'm trying to bring it to a whole nother level. You see, at the very bare minimum of it, when we practice gratitude, we begin to appreciate things more, and more importantly, appreciate ourselves more. And when we're faced in a time of stress or in a new environment, all of these little things that we do to practice gratitude can make a world of a difference. And when it comes to practicing gratitude, we can be grateful for some of the most simple things in our lives, like the roof on our heads, or our own personal health, the ability to walk, things of that nature, but we can also bring it to another level, like maybe the fact that we go to a certain school, or that we have a strong support system, or we have a specific job. But I'm going to start off today's episode by going over something that I use to kind of help me practice gratitude. Whenever I think about this subject, it makes me think back to a time in middle school when I was learning about a food pyramid. Yep, I'm sure each and every single one of you guys have learned about the food pyramid at some point. The very bottom is the biggest, it's the base of the food pyramid, and I believe it was grains or carbohydrates or breads, right? And then you take it up a level, and then that little section of the pyramid gets a little bit smaller, and it's supposed to symbolize how much you're supposed to actually eat of it. And the next level is actually fruits and vegetables. And then the next level up would be our proteins, our meats. And always at the very top of that pyramid was all the good stuff that we loved and we enjoyed the most as kids. They would have candy there, they would have chips, they would have ice cream. My man, ice cream was up there. But these were the best things and the best tasting things, but they was trying to teach us to kind of enjoy these things in moderation. And the point that I'm trying to make here when it comes to the food pyramid is I want you guys to visualize that food pyramid in your head right now when I talk about something that I learned back in one of my psychology classes. Of course, I'm talking about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Now, Maslow's hierarchy of needs was basically a model based off of motivation. And he split it up kind of like a food pyramid, where at the very bottom, he included basic needs. And then as it moves up, it goes into psychological needs. And at the very top is self fulfillment needs. So, what are these needs and why do they matter? Well, according to Maslow, people need to start at the very bottom and fulfill their basic needs before they can move up to the next level, which is psychological needs. And what do I mean by that? You can't move up the triangle without fulfilling one from the bottom. And what do I mean by that? You're not able to move up on the pyramid unless you take care of the things on the lower levels first. And you're probably sitting there thinking, well, what does motivation have to do with gratitude? Well, I lean heavily on the Maslow's hierarchy of needs model to kind of remind myself about the things that I should be grateful for. So imagine the food pyramid. Where the carbohydrates and breads used to be, on the very bottom, would be psychological needs. So when I need help practicing gratitude, I'm always very thankful for my physiological needs. I'm grateful for the food I have in the fridge, for the water that I can drink and is coming out of my faucet, for the warmth within my home, and finally, the ability to just sleep in a bed. Being grateful for the basics is just where it starts. Now, as you practice gratitude more, you might be able to recognize other things like being grateful for security or for safety. That's the next Maslow hierarchy area. And finally, you might even be able to move up a level, which is belongingness and love needs. So being grateful for maybe intimate relationships or your family, or being grateful for having one or two best friends or maybe a few best friends. Finally, you can even move towards being grateful for your esteem needs, which is another level up on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Esteem needs are basically like prestige or a feeling of accomplishment. This is when you're saying things like, man, I'm really grateful that I got into this school, or I got an A on that test, or I was able to have the opportunity to sit and talk with someone. And finally, at the very top of Maslow's hierarchy of needs is self-actualization. Now, according to Maslow, not many people reach this level of self-actualization, and he defines it as achieving one's full potential, including creative activities. So sometimes you could be grateful for exhibiting some traits of self-actualization, like, hey, I'm really grateful that I'm someone that's a go-getter, someone that is going to never settle for less and to really work really hard. I think that is at a very high level of gratitude. So it's so important for us to kind of look at all of these different levels and practice gratitude within every single one of these levels throughout the day or throughout the weeks. And as I said before, it's really important to do this because it offers us a very unique perspective on life. The more we practice gratitude, the more we appreciate things, the smaller things, the things that make us smile, the fresh air we breathe, the smell of the roses, and everything in between. I think definitely when this pandemic happened and things were starting to suck a lot more, it was really easy to kind of cave in and complain a lot. And that little Alex in me that was complaining about the robo-dog started to come out. Man, I hate the way work is right now. I hate being stuck at home all the time. I can't stand the fact that I can't go to the gym. And there was an amount of time where I felt really stressed and a lot of anxiety because of all of these negative feelings that I've had. But then through the courses that I was taking, I realized that it's really important to practice gratitude in order to combat those negative feelings. I think ever since I started doing the exercises that I'm about to teach you right now, I really learned how to have a more positive outlook on life. So I'm going to break it down to 3 different activities for you to start practicing gratitude today. Step number 1, you definitely want to start practicing self-affirmation. If you've never heard about what self-affirmation is, we're going to combine the word self, which is you, and affirmation, which basically means like praising and saying good job or really acknowledging and appreciating certain things. So self-affirmation is pretty much doing that for yourself. I'm not going to lie, it's going to feel kind of weird and it's going to sound kind of cheesy if this is your first time doing it, but the more you practice it, the more genuine and authentic it's going to be. There's actually MRI evidence that shows that there are certain brain pathways that gets increased when you practice self-affirmation, and that was proven in a study by Sasio in 2016. So if you've ever heard a coach tell someone, hey, you did a really great job today leading the team and I think you're a great leader, that's an affirmation. If you've ever seen a teacher say, class, you guys did all really well today, I'm so proud of you guys, that's an affirmation. So when we apply that to ourselves, a few examples could be, hey, you did a great job on that assignment, and you could say that to yourself. Or, hey, you did a really great job getting out of the comfort zone and trying something new. That's a self-affirmation. And self-affirmation is so important because self-affirmation is literally practicing gratitude for yourself and your own qualities. A few benefits of self-affirmations. Sherman, Critcher, and Dunning did some research on self-affirmation, and they have shown that self-affirmation has been proven to decrease health deteriorating stress. In 2017, Leas and his team found that self-affirmation was actually positively linked to the academic achievement and GPA increases of students who felt left out in college. So now that you know a bit about self-affirmation, let's put it into practice. I want to challenge you all, every single day for 1 week, you take a minute, just 1 minute, in the morning and just say it out loud. 3 things that you're either proud of, thankful for, excited for. But the thing is that it has to all relate to you and the self. For example, I might wake up and say during my workout, hey Alex, you're doing a great job at working out today. You're about to kill it today with all of your meetings. And I'm really proud of you for always challenging yourself. Just do that every single day for 7 days and see if your mood changes, but also pay attention to the different types of things you were saying. I would also challenge you to throw in 1 or 2 things that you are grateful for, or just saying 3 things that you're grateful for in general, and that should work as well. And yes, I really mean it when I say it out loud. You have to speak it into existence because that holds a lot of power in itself. Step number 2 to getting better at practicing gratitude is journaling. I'll give you an example. Recently, I ran into a situation where I got really upset. And normally I would be really upset and I wouldn't know how to handle it, and I might take it out by doing some, unhealthy behaviors like binge eating or something like that. But ever since I started journaling, I was able to sit down and really think about it, Hey, today I'm feeling really upset because this is what happened. I think the reason why I feel upset is because X, Y, and Z. And the way this links to gratitude is sometimes when I don't know what to write, I write about the things that I'm thankful for. And I know step 1 was saying these affirmations out loud, but it would be even better if you could write in your journal a few things that you're grateful for as well. That's definitely what I write when I have nothing. I have writer's block. I sit there and I say, okay, at the very least, I write 3 things that I'm grateful for. I make sure I don't repeat the same things in the same week, and I look at all the different aspects of my life as well. The beautiful thing about journaling is that you can kind of make whatever you want out of it. I learned about journaling through one of my classes, and it was really weird at first, I'm not going to lie. You don't have to go out and buy anything fancy. You could just use like a basic notebook and just commit some time either every day or every other day where you can sit and really write about your thoughts and your feelings. And it's going to be weird the first time for some people, like it was for me. But as you keep practicing it, it really is a skill. It's a skill to kind of self-reflect. It's important to write about how you feel, but also writing about why you feel that way as well. Now, sometimes it could get really hard to journal, personally speaking. And what I do is I Google great journal prompts, and I always find really, really good ones that I can just start writing. It doesn't have to be fancy, 4 to 5 sentences a day, maybe. It could even just be words. The beauty of journaling is that it's completely up to you and how you want to interpret it. Sometimes, honestly, rarely, I'll go back and actually read what I wrote, but just the method of writing down how I feel and things of that nature has really helped me with dealing with a lot of the different responsibilities that I have, some of the anxiety I feel sometimes, and really just making sure that I can sit and reflect and be grateful for all of the things that I have and, really have some compassion for people who don't have all the things that I have. Step number 3 is a gratitude jar. So, this is something that I learned about before I made this episode, and it's definitely something that I really, really am going to try. The idea of a gratitude jar is to get a jar. Honestly, I'm going to use an empty protein bottle because that thing is almost done and it's like a big jug. But you get the point. It's either a box or a jar or something, and you cut a hole on the top. And every day you get a Post-it and you write something that you're grateful for and you put it in that jar. Your goal is to try to fill that up as much as possible. And the idea of it also is if you're having a bad day or you're feeling some negative emotions or you're having a lot of anxiety, you can always open that up and look at all of the different notes and the little post-its that you left for yourself so you could really acknowledge the things that you're grateful for again. So those are 3 great tips and ways for you to start practicing gratitude today. I hope that was able to really help you out, but I do want to mention the challenge again. I would challenge you guys all every single morning to wake up and physically say out loud at least 3 self-affirmations or 3 things that you're grateful for. If you want, say 6. If you want, say 5 and mix it up. Maybe 2 things you're grateful for, 3 self-affirmations. A part of the challenge is to not mention anything twice in the same week. When I did it this morning, I said, I'm grateful to have good health. I'm grateful to still have a job. I'm grateful to have a roof over my head. I'm grateful to have internet. And I'm grateful to have clothes that I can wear and different styles even if I wanted to. I hope today's episode has helped at least some of you guys, or maybe even all of you guys, find ways to really just appreciate things more. And I would like to finish it off by just saying that I'm extremely grateful to have some of you listen, and some of you guys have emailed me and sent me words of encouragement and support, and I appreciate so many of you guys. Thank you so much. This was such a great experience. I'm feeling really grateful just talking about all this, and I hope that you feel the same way too by the end of this episode. Thank you so much. I've never been good at saying goodbye, but something I always say is that we say goodbye so that we could say hello again. Thank you guys so much for tuning into Stuff I Wish They Taught Me. Once again, my name is Alex Luong, and remember, if you want to be a good friend, if you want to be a good homie, then go ahead and think about someone that you might feel will benefit from any of the information that I shared with you guys today. Send them the episode and let them go on their merry way. If you guys have any suggestions, please go to thebalancedlearner.com and click suggestions and let me know what you're thinking. I really want to know. I want to improve, and I want you guys to be there with me. Please, if you have a chance, leave a review or a rating on Apple Podcast or wherever you get your podcast. And it brings me a great honor for me to say this, as I always do, to close off every episode. I told you.